Yo, what's up, guys? I'm here with Corbin Feltz. He is a fitness coach that helps women in New York, a very specific type of woman, lose weight. And yeah, we're here going over his results over the past 6 months working with me. He has made over $140,000 in cash in the last 6 months, where beforehand he was making inconsistently around 5 to 10K per month. And the way that we did that was actually a pretty unconventional client acquisition method. And the way the process was discovered was actually pretty cool. So we're gonna get into the story behind all that, the ups and downs, the highs and lows for Corbin's experience, and then also what lies ahead for 2026, because the foundations are set for multi six-figure months now, and both of us are super, super stoked. So yeah, without further ado, Corbin, how you doing, man?
I'm good, bro. How you doing?
Doing good, man. So why don't we let everyone know who you are, who you help, and what you help them do?
Yeah, so I'm essentially a fitness coach. I fell into the niche market of working with Jewish women about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's been kind of a roller coaster ever since. I'll have some months where I'm pulling 10 to 15K, but when I first started with them, but then other months that I just was doing basically nothing, and I was basically relying on one client to give me all of my acquisitions, and it was kind of a nightmare in terms of like knowing what I was going to bring home every month and if I was even going to make ends meet. Um, so it was just kind of up and down. But I've been trying to get out of the market for a little bit until you and I started working together, and then we kind of talked about it and just realized that it was an amazing market to be in. So
It's
um,
perfect. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So how exactly did you stumble into this niche? Because you're not Jewish yourself. So how did all this happen?
Dude, I'm not Jewish at all. I was basically cold DMing people for like a year, trying to just work with people for free, trying to get into the online space because, once COVID happened, everything switched online. So I was just DMing people, trying to build up my portfolio and work with people and get some before and afters. And then, just one day I messaged this girl who messaged me back. I started working with her for free. And then one day she posted me on her Instagram, and I just got like 100 new followers like in an hour. And ever since then, it's just like people have been reaching out, wanting to work with me. And I literally just fell into it. Like the market is so incredible and nobody knows about it. So just been working with Jewish women ever since.
Yeah, I want to get into the tactics behind what makes this niche particularly profitable for you, but also a really great experience for your clients. Um, First of all, it's a very small community that you work with. So again, you kind of stumbled into all of this, right? It's not like this was you like targeted Jewish women specifically in New York. We didn't go for that, but most of your clients are like in New York City. So we're talking about like, granted, New York has a gigantic Jewish population, but in the grand scheme of things, we're talking about like, I don't know, tens of thousands of people at most that would fit your criteria, right? Which is a woman in her 30s who's likely a mother, and she's, wants to lose weight. She kind of not let, but time kind of took its course in all the daily struggles of being a mother and a wife and all that. And, she kind of was no longer the top priority, and, her body and her health suffered, and you come in to fix that. Um, One thing that makes it particularly useful, the market for, kind of like this referral engine that you had, is that the community is very, very tight knit, right? Like they're very well connected, um, and they talk to each other, you know. And that specific factor of the word of mouth effect, because it's not even like these were like full-blown referrals where like one woman is like reaching out to another one and then they're in like a group chat with you and saying, hey, you got to work with Corbin. It's just like they're having a conversation. She's looking super good. Who did that? Corbin. And they just follow you and it happens, right? Can you speak a little bit about that network effect that happened to kind of grow this whole referral engine that you had in the beginning?
Yeah, dude. I mean, they all trust each other. It's like they all want to know what each person is doing, and they follow a lot of like influencers. So people that have 10 to 15,000 followers on Instagram is like a normal person would have like 100,000 followers. So like they because they're so loyal to the people that they follow and they trust them so much that they all want to work with whoever they're working with, each other is working with, you know. So if they work for one person, it just they automatically think that it's going to work for them, which, you know, we thank God have had success with so far. But I will say that there's a lot of gut issues in the Jewish community, which is one of the reasons that they love to work with me. I think it's just because I focus so much on the gut aspect and the hormonal aspect of weight loss. Um, but yeah, I mean, it really is just so much of just a referral engine. Like they want to work with whoever each other is working with.
Yeah, and let's talk about you mentioned earlier how the the client acquisition strategy, which again, all this kind of just happened organically and it was kind of random, was dependent on one single person, right? So the way that you're kind of like on this revenue roller coaster, right? Where some months, she would make a post and for whatever reason, tons of people saw it. They would reach out to you to make, 10, 15K. Awesome, right? Maybe the next month it's like 3K or the month after that it's five. So what was that feeling that you had running your business, not knowing like where the next client was going to come from?
Bro, it was just a constant stressor in the back of my head, you know, because I moved to Tampa with our mutual friend Nate, and we moved in like this super nice luxury apartment. And I just didn't really have the money for it. Some months, like barely scraping by.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like I would have like $500 in my bank account just after I paid rent. So it was just that's when you and I kind of started working together is because like I knew I needed to do something different. And Nate always talked about, you know, how many people you've helped and just you knew your shit, you know, and so I wanted to talk with you and then I got on the sales call with you and I was just like sold. And yeah, dude, thank God I did because it's fucking it's paid off.
So you had 500 bucks in your bank account. What are things like now?
Bro, just made 50K December or 48K from December to January. And yeah, I think I have like I think I've made 20,000 this month so far. Just in the past like probably 3 weeks. So yeah, it's been fire.
Nice, man. Okay, cool. Yeah, I know everyone watching this is going to want to know like what specifically you did to go from like 5K per month on average to 50K last month. Um, what did you do? Let them know.
It really wasn't that different. We came up with a strategy of what was already working, doing more of what was already working, which
Yeah.
was partnering with these influencers and working with them for free, um, in return for promotion. And it was just like a firestorm of people just coming out of the woodworks as soon as I did that. Yeah, it was amazing.
That simple. Yep, that's for anyone watching. That's what happened. That's the secret. Um, basically, you or the process that I like to run through with coaching. You just identify what's working and what's not. The stuff that's already working, we're going to do more of that, and that's precisely what happened. So, in lieu of, there's a lot of options that we had, right? We alongside everything, you're still like setting the foundations for your YouTube channel because of how important that is long term to scale your business. You could have run ads, you could have gone all in on, Instagram or short form content. Um, but given where everything was at, the most obvious move was to, again, just kind of like squeeze the juice out of the opportunity that you already had, which, upon a critical analysis of your market and everything that was working, it was an absolute no-brainer. It's like very simple question, right? If you can have one influencer bring you, multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of business over the course of 4 years, why can't we have 20 of them do that? And so the steps after that is we basically created an offer for them specifically, right? Like made it an absolute no-brainer for those influencers to send you, their followers to you. And exactly as you said, right? You work with them for free in exchange for access to their audience, essentially. And yeah, it's like, a lot of people get tripped up about like working for free, but I don't view it that way. Essentially, like you gave her the price tier program, which we'll talk about that in a second too, it significantly raised prices, which is a huge lever that was pulled. So we 6x those, right? So it's like 6K now basically. Um, and you're giving her basically 6K worth of value for her to give you 60 to 600K worth of value. It's not free. It's a fair exchange, right? Makes her look good. Obviously, the other part about this too, right? To contextualize it again, the community factor is so important, right? Because they know each other in person. And so there's like this social status dynamic that happens when, the influencer that you're partnering with kind of becomes um, the facilitator of their transformation. And she kind of gets credit for that in a way. So there's a lot of ways that we kind of like took a look at the social dynamics, the business dynamics, and just basically packaged it into a no-brainer offer. And yeah, he just reached out to him. Most of them said yes, and everything exploded.
It was funny how many of them said yes. Like they were all so ready and down to work with me. And like you said, dude, it's like 60K in return for like one program essentially is what I was offering them. I was just working with one person in return for like 60K. It's an absolute no-brainer. And like it was an amazing idea.
Yeah. So that was it. Anyone's got a good market? Do you want to copy that? That's what it was. Obviously, there's some tactical things with like how the messaging was scripted and the uh, how to handle the call after that, and just to make sure that the actual relationship was fostered in a way that was conducive to a long-term partnership and not just like a one-off sales call or something like that. Because again, as you know, to go back to what was working, right? You had to have a relationship with one of these influencers for that's lasted for 3 to 4 years. Like we want to replicate that specific dynamic, and it doesn't happen by just going in there and trying to extract as much value from them as possible. It happens from giving, and so um, that's kind of my big takeaway from all this as far as the transformation goes. Like kept it very, very, very simple. Like we look at the stuff that's already working, we just do more of it and better, and that's where we're at. Now, an interesting thing happened from that. Now we have a fulfillment bottleneck, which is a very good problem to have because it means there's tons of cash in the bank. Currently what we're doing right now is setting up the client success system to, of course, manage that, and then, of course, get more results, referrals, and back end sales down the line this year. So I'm very excited to see where things are headed. In the next 6 months or so, it's going to be probably close to like 100, 120, 150K. Mark my words, you'll see it. Um, and yeah, man. So before we get into what's next for you, let's kind of take a step back a little bit and talk about the way that you run your program because um, fitness coaching offers are very popular in the coaching space. And from my experience working with other fitness coaches, they're always looking for kind of like that, just some type of like secret sauce or some type of advantage they can have over their competition because it is such a saturated niche. How exactly do you work with your clients? Because again, you're working with Jewish women and you're not Jewish. So, I'd be curious to hear how you specifically approach like honoring that relationship, being aware of like the specific needs of your clients and how you've created a program that's specifically tailored to them.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was just like trial and error. I've worked with hundreds of Jewish women over the past like 4 or 5 years, and it was just a lot of like learning a little bit at a time, about their religion, about their culture, about like what they do each week. I mean, it's Shabbos is a big thing. It's their day of Sabbath to where, they have basically a Thanksgiving dinner twice a week, every single week. So that's part of it, like trying to manage how they're handling that day, making sure they're not binging and making sure they're just like, sticking to plan. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's like they're very conservative people. So you just got to honor and respect that to a degree. But then also they're just, pretty normal. They do, like I said, they have a lot of gut issues just because of they eat like shit like twice a week. So the way that I typically package it and work with them is I'll get some basic information on them, like, I'll find out the inner workings of their gut, we'll get blood work on them, and I'll create a protocol based off of that information. So what symptoms they have, what their blood work says, if something is suboptimal or something needs to be balanced out, then we'll just do it custom to that. But other than that, it's sticking to the basics, sleep, stress management, toxin exposure, exercise, and diet. Um, and yeah, that's basically the gist of it. Week to week, we have a check-in call, and it's worked out so far.
Yeah. Yeah. In the beginning too, you didn't even have like you weren't even using trainer eyes or anything like that. It was just like worksheets essentially that they were using. Which felt you feel free to talk about that. You hate trainer eyes, right?
Dude, I hate trainer eyes still. So I was using Word doc and everything was just so janky. It was like I had no structure to
Yep.
it. And I would try my best to make it look good, but at the same time, it's like once you started utilizing ChatGPT, there's just all these different formatting things that you could do to make it actually look a lot nicer. And then, shortcuts along the way that we've kind of discussed about how to just improve the overall appearance of and the packaging of information, not just giving them the information, but like making it look good as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think again, simplicity, right? Like you got away with just using Google Docs for years and it
Mhm.
was relatively fine. Not optimal, right? But it goes to show that, there's an order of operations when it comes to the specific problems that you're solving. Working on like from say 0 to like 10 to 25K per month, what needs to happen is the business needs to just get consistent 10 to 15K per month. Like predictably, you can know beyond the shadow of a doubt that that money is coming in. Then you start to work on, improving the program a little bit. And then from, 50 to 100K, that's when you actually need to create like the highest value client experience possible to scale to, consistent multi six-figure months. Um, but yeah, you really have to make sure that the priorities in the business are very well set and you stick to the plan. Otherwise, what ends up happening, right, is you spread yourself too thin and then you kind of do like this half-baked measure of all the different departments of your business and nothing ever is like truly excellent. Um, and so, we kind of hit a fork in the road with that, right? Because sometimes you can actually improve your program and scale the front end at the same time. But when it became clear that like, no, we definitely need to make sure that the acquisition system is working and installed um, before like, creating the 100K per month version of the program. That's what happened you know, in in light of that, like this theme of simplicity that's coming up in the call, like one thing that's kind of coming to mind right now, it kind of goes back to like the very first thing that you said, where like when we first met each other, your perception of what needed to happen was just changing niches altogether, right? And as it turned out, like the problem was the opportunity, like right in front of us. Um, one thing that's come up a lot, we've talked about this too, of like there's shit in every business, like there's no business is like this perfect, blissful state where like everything is, uh, working perfectly and 100% of your clients are amazing to work with. Everyone has their ups and downs, but from a strategic perspective, it was, the answer was staring us right in the face. But
Yeah, dude. I mean, looking back on it, I'm like, it's just so funny to me that I actually wanted out of it because I have literally the best opportunity that I could have ever asked for. It's just like what I already have. But the main thing was working with one person, relying on one person that to give me all my business.
yep,
That's what's really causing me so much stress. But then, yeah, we got that handled.
yep. So I'd be curious to hear, like, if you were talking to someone who was in the same position that you were 6 months ago, what would be like, if you could only tell them one thing to change the business, what would that be?
To change their business,
Yep.
do more of what's working. Yeah, just keep it simple. If nothing's working, I would honestly just say to call you. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully something's working. Otherwise, they wouldn't really have a business. But um, so like from your perception, how do you think you managed to do that? Like, how did you figure out what was working? Obviously, we did it together, but you played a huge role in doing a lot of the work.
I had already kind of had the idea to do it. Like I was like, God, I just need to work with more influencers because throughout the process, I have worked with other influencers in the past that she has referred me to. And I've gotten some business from them, but then again, it's just like the well dried out. And I never knew how to go about like reaching out to these people. Like I wanted to do it in a respectful way. I also didn't want to alienate anybody. I didn't want to be like I didn't want them to tell their friends basically like, "Oh, this guy reached out to me. Like, what is he trying to say? Like, are you calling me fat or something?" So the messaging I think was a really big piece of it. And because I felt totally comfortable with the messaging that you gave me to send all these people, and I just copied and pasted it. So that I think helped a lot. I just fire hosed messages to these people, and then I ended up getting, 5 or 10 influencers to work with, and, um, yeah, I guess that was how we did it.
And there's more too. There's no reason why we can't have 50, you know. Definitely need to get the CS system installed before that happens though, because yeah, you definitely have a fulfillment bottleneck right now. And so yeah, I mean the next step, is hiring a coach to help you out with the check-ins and progress reports and all that kind of stuff. Um, have you ever worked with any other coach to help
Never.
you? You've never done that before?
Mhm.
Cool. That would be an interesting problem to solve. There's a lot of stuff that comes with that for sure. Um, I'm curious to hear, like, what do you think is the next move for you? Let's say, like, where do you want things to be 12 months from now?
I'd love to have a couple coaches underneath me. I do have a really good referral to, like 1 or 2 coaches that do the same thing as I do. They just need more clients. So 12 months from now, dude, just doing more of the same thing that I'm already doing. Maybe get out of the business a little bit because I'm currently working like a shit ton of hours just trying to fulfill everybody,
Yep.
which is a great problem to have. Like super thankful for that. But at the same time, like I just want to remove myself a little bit so that I can, be more of like a overseer of a process instead of being inside the business so much. So that's what I'm really looking for. And then of course, like, 100K months, dude. That's where we're going.
Cool. Hell yeah, dude. Well, if you had, say, one piece of tactical advice, like your biggest takeaway over the past 6 months, besides just doing what works and keeping things simple, what would that be?
I think of just being grateful for what I already had. Um, a lot of times I feel like, at least in my own life, I've looked more outside of what I currently have or what I'm currently doing to find like it can't just be that simple. I know that like we're not trying to talk on that, but I would say just like look at what's right in front of you. That's what I would say. Like you already kind of know what you need to do. Just do that.
That's the whole thing with coaching programs in the first place, right? It's like 100% of our clients, generally speaking, right? So I would say not 100%, but like 95% of the time, they know what they need to do and they just don't want to do it. Or there's something getting in the way. And that's the job of every coach, regardless of the niche that you're in, is identifying what that specific thing is that's getting in the way and eradicating that, or having a process that progressively takes the clients to the other side of that problem. And, for you, it's helping women lose weight and getting into, the best shape of their lives in their 30s, which is a really awesome thing to do. For other people, it's like you got coaches from all over the place. I worked with a barber coach, there's accounting coaches, there's whole types of coaches, but at the end of the day, it's always super straightforward. It's like one of my clients right now is a contractor coach. Like he helps guys that pour concrete make more money. Um, and it doesn't matter what the niche is. Every single client knows what they need to do. They just don't want to do it. Um, and what's funny about it too is exactly as you said, it's always staring you like right in the face. It's right there. And oftentimes it comes down to like having the courage to do the thing that feels hard. And that's usually where the most money is getting made. And ironically, the hard thing is usually the simplest as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to say I'm super proud for you, proud of you, because of your ability to do that. And also like it's very easy working with you. We both just kind of took a plain look at how things were going and just did it. It's really so simple. Um, as is the theme of the call. So, uh, yeah, Corbin, want to congratulate you on your first 50K month. Having that happen in less than 6 months is amazing. The vast majority of coaches never hit that. And we barely scratched the surface of the opportunity that's ahead of you. So I'm very much so looking forward to the 2026 case study, see where things are going. So, do you have any parting words before we sign off?
Dude, I just gotta say, like, just between us, like, I when we first got on the call, like, I actually didn't really believe that I'd hit 50K by the end of the 6 months. I just kind of thought that sounded like a cool number. I just wanted to make more. I wanted to be comfortable and like, you know, not be paycheck to paycheck. But I really just like, I don't know, dude. Thank you so much, like, for everything you've done. It's been amazing working with you too. So looking
You're
forward to the
welcome.
next year as well.
Hell yeah, man. All right. Well, if you guys want results similar to Corbin, you know what to do. Book a call down below and let's make it happen. Peace.